Okay. Sorry about that. A little trouble. I know I had a couple of you in the lobby there. Hope you can make your way back. I think my computer got mad at me because I had two camera operators going on in the background, but I figured that out. Just started back up fresh. Hi there. It's me. We're chilling. Friday stream. I have the lore master with me today. Happy to have a friend in chat and well, another brain on the project. Oh, there we are. Look, you all made it back. Thank you very much. Hi. What's going on? Again, this is a Friday stream with me, Chill, and Lore Master. Today we're going to be working on, I think, the second story of the Bastion. I finally made it to the second story of my build here. Which, as we know, if you're popping around on DA channel, still a work in progress on the early access program, so you'll see here that I kind of made my own separate like modules, or not modules, floors, maps for the second stories. And I was kind of just doing a flyby for you so you can see kind of the different design. Which one do we just, Ol and I, we'll do Sage. Say hi, Lore Master.
Hello?
Yes, hi. Good morning, good afternoon.
Good morning. I'm still
The,
mostly asleep.
yeah, well, depending on your time zone, you know. I often will be saying good morning to someone who's like, yeah, I just got off work and I'm going to bed in an hour. Like
Yeah.
that
I
Discord
mean,
life.
as you can see, it's broad daylight outside, but I
mm,
would like to still be asleep.
let's see.
Night owl
Zero down here.
problems.
Indeed.
But yeah, as Mitchell's popping around and working on these next floors, I'm gonna be ironing out some more mechanics for our adventure that is going to go hand in hand with these lovely little maps.
And last one, home ed. So this is kind of just what I did on yesterday. Finished up. I wanted to chat with you a little bit about it, I guess. I kind of got in deep with it with Stormy and Ricky the other day. Just kind of like what is needed for these second floors, and I was like kind of in concept about it. Story wise, DM wise, like ammo in your arsenal wise, like this is like a very unimportant piece to the map in my opinion. I feel like if there's scenes up in these second floors of the frat houses, there's going to be maybe 15-30 minutes tops of roleplay that might happen, and maybe once or twice depending on how where you go and how your characters play always. But I feel like it's like a 1 to 5% part of this of what needs to be made. So I was like, having these separate second stories might be okay, because really you don't have to pull them out too often, and now they just at least have functionality. And I was really sad to kind of just not be able to do the second story thing like I did on the main campus. But in that same breath, like the main campus is like 80% of that's like your main weapon and as a DM in this module we're making. Everything's gonna happen there, everything's directed there. It's the focal point of so I want to spend more time there, and I definitely
Yeah.
think I want to spend less time maybe over here design wise. But uh, I think that other 20%, maybe 30% even, is gonna be over here in the bastions.
Yeah, I think having the space fleshed out is really important. Like we don't want to leave anything up to not to say we don't want to leave anything up to interpretation. It's more or less we don't want to have to put the onus on creating what these spaces would look like on the dungeon master, especially if we're offering them a fully fleshed adventure in a fully fleshed setting,
Mm,
right?
mm.
So having the spaces is important. I think it's great for let's say somehow one of our player characters end up as like a council member in one of these houses. Then they would have a room and they would have lodging.
Yes, yeah,
And
very very
perhaps
good
maybe
point.
more of the campaign will take place there because they have their friends come to their quarters more often.
Hmm.
Um, so there's always that. And I think just
Yeah,
having the space, it doesn't need to be anything crazy. They're dorm rooms. They're nice dorm rooms. They're nicer than the general dorm
Yeah, yeah, and that's honestly something I was thinking about a couple days ago, kind of just like the potential of Dungeon Alchemist as a program for a DM. On that, like, say you're running this campaign, you have access to DA, so you can come in here, you'll have the files, you can edit and change them to your liking, add Easter eggs to your liking, right? And in that same breath, as a DM, like, how cool is it? To give your player exactly what they got in the game in a visual 3D
Exactly.
format. Like you gave them this cool artifact that gives them +2 on their spell casting, and they really love it. They use it every session, and then you can like put a model of that in their room and be like, oh yeah, that's the artifact I gave you. Like that just builds thematic. It's like this like crazy idea. Like I've tried doing it myself with like custom imaging and like Photoshop. You've seen, right? But having literally like you've seen the wheel of assets over here, like endless assets to give your players in their session that will make sense and like be a part of the story is like it's just so cool. I feel like it's like the next step of D&D and you know
Oh, agreed. Agreed.
ah,
And part of why I think I really love Dungeon Alchemist so much is that you can create these beautiful, really well fleshed out maps, and then turn around and still put that power in the hands of the other dungeon master. And I think that just creates more versatility, gives us all the tools that we wanted. Am I muted? Can you hear me?
no, I can hear you. Your mic's a little quiet. You might be able to turn yourself
I
up a
felt
bit if you
frozen
can.
too on stream.
Yeah, I might be catching a little difficulty here. Let me look.
Um, but yeah, I think being able to put a little more of that power in the hand of the dungeon master is really important. You know, like you said, for them to be able to go into that dorm room and like, oh, you said you have, X, Y, and Z in your room. Okay, well now we get to add that personality to that room and make it feel like the story is living and the story is something that you are affecting.
I've said this before many times. I think DA and just like the concept that it brings is very much like the future of.
Mm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, your camera's not coming up, but your sounds are coming up. Let me check it out. But as I was saying, like the future, I feel like almost is like the everything that we've been seeing has been pushing further and further towards VTTs in this realm, kind of. And what Dungeon Alchemist does is it gives you a full rendering program and full access to a creating program for said VTT. And in some cases, as I brought up before, son, you could just use DA kind of laymansly as your own VTT for the DM, right? Um, so I feel like this program just has like a lot of potential. I'm not
A lot of
sure.
potential.
So I can't get your something's going on with my Twitch over here. So I'm just gonna go to my main, just put me up. You're still on stream vocally. We can hear you.
Okay,
So I just can't figure out the camera thing right now.
nice. I get to take the shirt off now.
There you go. Yeah, you can be comfortable. That's how you like to stream anyways. I'll be the face.
Thank gosh.
Like, oh, I can take a break. I can breathe.
Release. Release. Release.
Let's see. So I need to
Yeah,
play
I
with some
agree.
floors here.
So in my world right now, in my writing world, um, I am currently um, I'm iterating on the progression system and some ideas that I've had. Specifically, is I started to break down each of the specific classes and specifically what their core trait abilities are, barring subclass. So, basically, the things that make artificer an artificer, and a barbarian, and so on and so forth. And what I've come to the conclusion of is that if we can find a way to incentivize the use of and reward the use of the core features and traits of those classes, I think that speaks a lot to what I wanted from this progression system in general. So I started with the artificer and I broke it down from its level 1, 2, and 3 features, which level 1, they get magical tinkering. And for the most part, I have rarely seen a artificer besides myself really use um, magical tinkering to any real avail. And for those of you that aren't aware, magical tinkering for artificers allows them to create an effect within a non magical object. So you can create a light source. You can create a recorded message that
Mm.
will be uttered from said object.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could have it create an odor or a sound like wind or waves or chirping.
Sounds like a
And it
bunch
would
of
be
non-combat features that you'd have to get really creative with in your roleplay, right?
right, exactly. And you can even create static visual effects. That could be a picture,
Mm.
it could be words, lines, shapes, mixtures of elements, anything like that. So, yes, very much non combat effects. Um, and you go to the second level, and that's when they start to get their infusions. And these are the more useful items that they start to pass out and use to buff themselves up and their allies. And then you get to third level and you have right tools for the job where they're allowed to, during a short rest, create artisans tools. Um, and you can magically create a set of tools during that short rest and then use that set of tools for whatever purpose they may be used for. Now, besides artificer infusions, for the most part, I don't see artificers use tools. I don't see players use tools, and that's something that we addressed in the mercenary class. And that's mostly because the rulings for them feel very flat unless you start to look at Tasha's and you start to look at Xanathar's guide. So, with that being said, what do you think we're gonna do? What do you think we're gonna do here? That's okay. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. Um, we're gonna basically incentivize using these things. We're gonna incentivize using them as part of your progression. So at level 1, we have the first tier progress. So after using your magical tinkering 10 different times, um, and that's just being able to use said feature. So whether or not it's used in combat or role play, whatever it may be, we're asking that you simply use the feature, showing that you can use it. So create a flashlight. So create a decoy. Create a sign. Whatever it is, as long as you use that 10 times, you get those 10 ticks, and that furthers you towards your progression. Now, level 2, we ask that you use 5 different infusions. That's easy. Everyone's going to do that. Everyone loves using infusions. They're super useful. One of the best features of the Artificer. But we're basically just having you keep track of this. We're having you be accountable for using them. And then at third level, this is where we get a little more in depth. We are diving deep into Xanathar's guide and looking at the downtime revisited and the tools and proficiency rules. Xanathar has really great rules for tools and skills being used together that allow way more use for tools than I feel like the game has ever shown us before. And that basically looks like tools having a special activity that you can use also alongside the downtime um, abilities, or excuse me, the downtime rules that allow for crafting magical items like potions, um, and all sorts of different things. But if you look at the Dungeon Master's Tools section in Xanathar's Guide, they talk a lot about the tool descriptions. And it talks about what components you'll find in these toolkits, what skills can be associated with these tools, and it gives you special uses that you can bring into your game with these tools. And I want to really press on those. And I think they're a really great tool for Dungeon Masters, and we're definitely going to press those heavily into how we explore what uses these tools can give us, not just in combat, but also outside of that, within role play and within all sorts of situations, within puzzle solving, within um, map making and exploration. So just looking at something like alchemist supplies, Xanathar's Guide goes into speaking about how in an alchemist supply you'll find glass beakers, a metal frame to hold them over an open flame, a glass stirring rod, mortar and pestle, a pouch of common alchemical ingredients like salt, powdered iron, and purified water. With the Arcana skill, proficient with an alchemist supplies allows you to unlock more information involving potions and similar materials. Now, it doesn't really go into what specifics you would learn, and those are things that we're going to have to aggregate and sort of add more information to. Um, and it also goes into investigation. When you inspect an area for clues, proficiency with an alchemist supply grants additional insight into any chemicals or other substances that may have been used in the area. And again, it's a little flat. They're kind of just giving a broad generalization, not exactly what things you might find or what things or clues could be present. It's more up to the DM to decide what things would be applicable there, and we can find out more of what that will look like. But the big thing is the special use. And with alchemy supplies, you get alchemical crafting, and you can use this tool proficiency to create alchemical items. You can spend money to collect raw materials, which weigh 1 pound for every 50 GP. And a DM can allow a character to make a skill check using the indicated skill with advantage. As part of a long rest, you can use alchemist supplies to make 1 dose of acid, alchemist fire, antitoxin, oil, perfume, or soap. And you can subtract half of the value of the created item from the total GP worth of raw materials you are carrying. Now, all that is to say, it's giving you all of these really great abilities to actually craft things with these tools that are given to us. And I think that is part of the really interesting thing that we want more of. We want more use out of these things that we have in our arsenal. We want them to be less of a throwaway. Yeah, I have some tools in my kit, and more of something that you're going to actively use during your campaigns, actively use during your sessions, and want to apply to the game.
And I
I would
think that's
love to be able to.
the kind of like we touched on this before. Like the whole premise behind these ideas that you've been pitching is kind of instilling, teaching, or showing ways in which DMs can expand upon the ability to encourage role play and encourage players to use aspects and elements of the game that, in my opinion, I think people want to use and have interest in, but then when they get there they feel unfulfilled and or they feel like they're maybe falling behind or not being as effective as other players. So then it goes to the wayside and everything kind of gets viced into this like meta game, if you will, and or just overlooked, if not even considering like min maxing in that conversation. Um, a lot of times players just don't know what to do with things, and in my opinion, that's when it comes to the DM to kind of give them some challenges, give them some tasks in which you can kind of instill or maybe encourage those things to happen. Uh,
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
like a lot of what you've been saying is really just it's like just giving the DM tools. We're just trying to make this toolkit essentially for our dungeon master. And why? Because I mean, I think frankly we look at the Lyceum College and this world inside the Enchanted Forest as being a very intricate and rich world, and we want people to be able to emulate that with us.
exactly. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is like all of these tools, and especially the artificer who gets all of these tool proficiencies and gets the ability to make all of these tools on the fly as they wish. Why is the only thing that I ever see an artificer use are the artificer fusions?
Yeah,
You
like
know,
give me
I
my
think
plus ones and give me my battle stats.
exactly, and
And
that's
honestly,
exactly what I'm
it
talking about with the metagame. Is it's the battle
yeah,
stats that
yeah, it
make
is
it
part, and I think
simple
that's
to
like
win.
it's in the conversation of artificers of like, oh, like they can be so overwhelming sometimes because if you really just focus or pour everything into that, they can be. And a little dabble of multi-class, yeah, they can be for sure. But I feel like it does a disservice to the basis of the character. Like the artificer is somebody who is extremely intelligent and not only intelligent but able to put that to hands-on, tactile, tangible things. They're an engineer, right? They would see the world as an engineer. They would see items and pieces as parts to their equation, you know? They would use all these little tools and trinkets and they would have a light mechanism on their bell and like all these different things just to aid them maybe in like quality of life, right? And I think that's like a great way to look at I think role play in general is to answer the questions of why. As a DM, we do this, you know, like why is this tavern here? Why is this blacksmith here? What purpose does it serve to the town? But same thing with your character, right? Why do I wear this vest? Why do I have this hat as an artificer? You know, what is the purpose of those items and do they serve you a purpose? And as an artificer, I would assume those things would serve a purpose for you. Maybe a monk or a wizard might be a little bit more reserved and maybe in just plain cloth or you know very little clothing. But an artificer, if they're not a battlesmith, juggernaut covered in armor, like they gotta have tools, wrenches, you know, all these different things, right? That's just what my brain sees when I think artificer. Um, yeah, so just to catch everybody up, so what we're doing here is this is the arcane bastion. So this is where they come to learn arcane arts at the college. We're starting the second floor, so I always start with foundation first. I want to get the basis of this structure, so that way I can build rooms upon it and then furnish the rooms that I've built. Um, it took me a minute. I had to kind of reset some of these tiles because I knew that if that everything's square and grid based on this map specifically, so I knew I was able to kind of tilt off the axis of the grid and then still have it fit and be measured. So as you see here, everything fits perfectly in square. And then I thought it'd be cool to kind of leave this little hole here where the giant scry ball is, and maybe just put a balcony that looks down onto that little foyer. You know, just a cool little design thing. I saw it and I went with it. We'll throw a banister on it, and banisters always look good.
We do love
Oh
banisters.
yeah, dude. Especially the Gothic stone. Like, thank you, DA, for adding Gothic stone. It's my favorite. It's beautiful. It is the theme of this build. It is taken over. So I'm not sure how I want to come in and do these. Do I want these walls to continue? No, I want these to be rooms. I want these to be their own rooms. So I might have to get a little cheesy from here on out. And if that's the case, I might even just go to on grid.
Hmm. Yeah.
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 I just have to get some cheesy overlaps. I try to avoid the overlaps when I can, but you just can't sometimes. And that's okay. Only way to avoid that overlap is to go back like 40 hours of content and make this building not not an odd number. Make it an even 2x2. And we can't do that. There's no going back. Only 4.
Only going forward. I hate that for you, I will say.
It is a creator's life. Like that's why I was showing. I think I was showing Stormy or maybe Ricky some of the stuff the other day, and I was like, yeah, like there's so many items that have come out from DA and their asset drop and from just like the community that I'm like, oh, like that would be so good on the circus map. But I'm like, no, like you can't do it. Like you can't just start going back to all your maps and just like re-upgrading them. Like you gotta just take it and just move on. It is what it is, and it was a beautiful map in its time,
But now we have moved on.
and
It's
now we've
like when
moved
I looked
on.
all the assets that I added into the that I added into the Lyceum, or not the Lyceum map, the circus map. Started
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
NPCs and like put all of the all the map art in. Made like posters. I went crazy. I made like posters and everything, and absolutely just destroyed when I tried to download Baldur's Gate, which is like never again.
Uh,
Unless
BG is like a huge game. Colossal. I guess we are doing these little 3 bits. All right, yeah, look at that. All right, that's at least even. So like, if I'm gonna go off the grid and like have to like slide some of these pieces in, like I at least want it to be mostly symmetrical. So like maybe zoomed out, there could maybe we'll see like a pattern. I'm starting to get like a snowflake type pattern here ish. Bada bing, bada bing. And you come in with these small ones.
I broke it.
What'd you break?
Broke my OBS, I think. My follower goal just won't work. Hey,
I'm
Stormy.
coming into some troubles on Twitch right now. Just to fill the stream in, my Twitch studio is like black, so I can't see any of the chat right now, nor my cameras and stuff. But I have checked the stream to make sure like I'm up. And once again, we
Stormy's in
do.
chat.
Nice,
Seriously?
nice. Hey Stormy, how you been? Back at it. I got a new build for us today. Still the college, but just a different place and new project, if you will.
One of the many campus buildings?
Yeah, one of the many campuses, the Arcane Divinatron. Again, everything's placed. Now we gotta start cheesing in. So I honestly think it's probably better to just take these because they have the bigger edge for me. Like, I can just drop the edge and it'll cover all that. Let me try and just at least center it. And maybe because it's getting a little cluttered in here, we might come in and we might throw some carpet down and cover that up.
A flying ship, you say? That's cool. Hey, Nefel. Thanks for tuning in.
I know. Welcome to the stream. Right now it's a lot of clicking. We're in a working hard moment. Do, do,
Oh,
do, do,
I don't
do.
know why this isn't working. Did I fix it? I think so. 12. Lunch is good. Food is good. Food's important.
Mm. Mm-hmm. I've been doing good. I'm just like I don't like to eat breakfast, so I try to just like have something small. So I just have like one little quick oatmeal there. It's enough to just tide me over and say I was healthy, right? You know, like here's some good fiber.
Something like that.
Right. As my stream knows, I love coffee. Often be reheating it. We likes it hot. What's that the Polar Express? Hot hot. Hey, we got it.
Hot, hot?
Ooh, we got it. Here we only got one rule, never ever let it cool. Instant classic, Polar Express.
Ugh, I broke it.
What's it? What'd you break?
My follower count thing won't work
Oh,
anymore.
your little widget. Your widget. Just make a new one, right? Just make a new one.
Yeah, I've tried that a bunch of times, but it's not working.
Maybe something's going on with the Twitch servers right now because I'm getting some weird stuff. This didn't happen at all last week when we did our dual stream. And on top of that, since forth, I've turned everything way down on my end. So there's no reason my computer should be struggling because I've made it effectively way easier for DA to run right now. And we had a perfectly fine dual stream last week, you know, so maybe something's going on their end. I at least got, you know, the regular streams up and at least you're in chat and able to be heard. But we'll figure out on how to be seen. I see you, son.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yay! And you know, on that whole like, you know, like
That
the
looks
the,
good.
the pattern kind of just
It looks
comes out
really
of
good.
the stone. The pattern just kind of comes out of stone, you know, like do I want these to be probably from here though. Alrighty.
Hmm.
Last one, and then this floor is done. Alright. Here we go. Now I'm realizing this is a lot of space.
Oh, Streamlabs.
Maybe we want to come in with some more design here. And see what this looks like if we like eat this out, this hallway out. It's like all the way back to here. Get rid of these things. Because also, these are the ones that were way off build anyways. We're getting back to some type of sanity on the placement. Or just like on the grid, if you, as it were. As it is. As it be. Zoom in, not that much. Stop tilting your head, Mitch. Hold shift for duplicate. Gonna have to get fancy over here. We like that though. We're about that. We're about that getting fancy life. Yeah, it's like I've been taking like a quick jog around the community and checking out some stuff, and I'm just like, wow, Mitch, you really go too far in some stuff.
Say again? How do you mean?
Sometimes I go like, like the shelves and stuff. I'm like, I want them to all have books on them. I want them to like to be full of potions. I don't want to just have an empty shelf. I could never.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that blew my mind the most about the circus build is that it was such a big map, and then you went around and put like scrolls in bookshelves and like placed items in bookshelves.
It was driving me nuts. I was like, I have to put something here. I think I like this way better. What do you think?
Like the patterning.
No, so just like I opened this up right here. So now, I mean, essentially, these are bastions.
Oh
So
yeah, that looks really good.
they are fortifications. So there'd be a banister that kind of runs up on this, and then essentially like this steel gate would shut a portcullis of some sort and a magical portcullis. Um, and then like this is like a little kill zone. So like it's a very defensive structure, and then these will be little parapets or some sort, bastion, banister parapets. What's going on with your OCD? What's going on? What's off? I'm sure I'll probably get to it or address it in some fashion or manner. I always do. You know what I say, Storm. You just kind of just like gotta build and go fast, and then cover up your mistakes later. I don't want to waste any production time here. And it's like not even just like, oh, I'm working on this project thing. It's like a very much like a for you as a DM thing. Like even like regular prep, like outside of DA. Like don't freaking just run your head against a wall when you're trying to prep. Like prep when it's there and freaking let the inspiration flow regular and fresh. Do 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 do. To add more defense to the structure, have it be built on a hill. The assets clipping. Which assets? Like these, the overlapping stone here. When you're zoomed in and you're really creeping it, it does kind of get to your eyes a bit. I agree. But these are things that, again, we can cover up. Like I'll just like make it up. Like this is like maybe we could put like a bucket here. We could put like a wooden battlement with some bows. Like a box of grenades can go on top of this little hole. There's like a million and one things in the asset. Uh, page over here that you can put. And I proved like I did it on. There was a whole I left like it was like a whole week. I let a whole week go by, and I was like, I'm not gonna fill that hole in. I'm just gonna ignore it, and it's gonna keep building. And then I went a whole week, and I was like, oh, here's this hole, and I was already just placing an item because I was furnishing the room as such. So like I didn't even have to try or think about it. I was like, oh, my brain just magically came up with the answer to this problem for me. So yeah, I insist to just power ahead. Throw uh throw shit on the wall and hope it sticks. I think is the figure of speech that applies here. Um, I guess not hope it sticks. Eventually, something's gonna stick, and then when it starts sticking, that's what you build on. That's your wall art. What a horrible analogy.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think this is gonna look good once I cut all these out.
Lots of carpets. Lots of carpets. No carpets yet, but soon maybe.
Yeah, I definitely that is one thing that I will agree with in actual medieval history and castle building. Um, very much a geographic conversation as well as a structural conversation, right? A lot of house or a lot of castles or fortifications and bastions, if you will, were created solely on the fact that hey, this is a great hill or this is a great little cut on a river that we can have a good vantage point and make a harbor on. We'll be able to control the entire trade of this river if we stick a castle here. Stuff like that. Which I mean, I guess again, this I brought this up like when you're designing, like we'll say like for something solely as like structurability. Like I don't care too much about where pillars and actual supports go because if I did, in reality, these halls would be really tight and tall, and there'd be a lot of pillars in them, and rooms would just feel claustrophobic, and they wouldn't be fun to play fantasy in. So I kind of blow everything up and then do aesthetical pillars and stuff like that. So same concept when it comes to like the geographic positioning of all this stuff. I was like, hey, the main focal point, the story I'm trying to tell is the bastion of the students that go here to learn and such. The focal point of this build isn't necessarily this bastion's in such a strategic spot to defend the castle. I mean, honestly, on that lore wise, there's wards all over this castle of magic that help protect it. So they could
Right.
maybe their intention for this build of their castle or bastion was secludedness in a magical forest, and so they didn't rely on a hill to put this bastion on, and they knew that they would have wards put up in place in time. So that conversation still kind of could be had, but I think in fantasy it's just a different conversation. You have to add a little bit more to the context. um, right, San? And I hate to say like magic is the answer because I know you hate that, but sometimes like you have to consider it in the world.
I think it's a tool, right? It's a
Yeah,
storytelling tool, and I think it's really great if we have um, these tools at our disposal to help create reasons and help create answers, but they can't be the end all be all, right? Like there also must be consequences, um, and and I think that's part of a lot of what we're exploring right now. But yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Like in this case, yes, a wizard did do it.
well, I think lore wise, I think you have written in some facet that like there's an amulet or a trinket that these students wear that allows you to walk on in college grounds and campus. So something's going to need a significant amount of magical power to just walk onto this bastion, if you will. Most stuff wouldn't even be able to get in it. Uh,
Let
you
alone
know,
see it.
let alone see it. And furthermore, like the castle is very much secluded in a forest. So what would even let's ask those what's and whys. What would be coming to attack this castle? Maybe a stray monster from the woods. Maybe something that's been plagued with a weird curse and just kind of stumbled in its way here. Very natural type stuff. I don't know if there would be too much like my hero villain attacks. But maybe that's something a story a DM wants to add. We're building this in a sandbox fashion because that's how we play our D&D. So if you want to add to this or customize it a little bit, that's totally viable, and I think that's kind of what we're trying to instill with the minutia of role play for what the characters do in between classes. We really want that to be a fleshed out and intricate part of these players' world. And so we're going to give you a bunch of tools, like we said before, to allow you to kind of create that for yourself. So I think we very much expect almost all of the Lyceum campaign runs to have some type of personal, individual type feel, right?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and I was even thinking about possibly writing the adventure so that the setting itself is like contained and almost separate, and then the storyline is almost like at the back of the adventure. It's like like we're setting the scene, and it's more important what the scene and all of that is rather than trying to tell like a narrative or a story of some sort.
Yeah, and I feel like I don't know a lot of modules that I've seen or read about or played. Um, they're linear in the sense of what they give the DM. Like everything's kind of just like this room, what's in it, next room, this room, what's in it next,
Right.
and important pillars of story that you need to read or flesh out for your characters, like before you in stages, like before they get to certain parts. Um, which in this in a homebrew and not even homebrew in a sandbox format, I think we've definitely brought this up last week on our Friday talk. Um, we don't know as the DM when the players are going to figure out certain pillars of this story. It could
Right.
very much be at different times and different places all over, depending on how they play and how the DM interprets a lot of stuff. Um,
Exactly.
so it doesn't serve us, and I don't think it really serves the player of the game that much to have these kind of, I guess, milestone pillars of story. As in this format, it doesn't really apply. Maybe in like the Mad Mage, where you like, hey, they literally can't see anything on floor 4 until they stumble through floor 3 and find it. Like, okay, now I give them the floor 4 milestone pillar of information, right? In this, it's entirely different.
Yeah, I think the goal here really um, is to just set a really broad, sort of cast a really broad net, and use that net to create, like you're saying, a sandbox that the dungeon master themselves feels really empowered to take onus over and to say, okay, well, they gave us this setting, this beautiful setting. They gave us all this lore for said setting, and they told us basically run with it, right? And that's what I want. That's what I want them to do. I want them to run with it. I want them to say, okay, maybe I don't want to run this particular adventure of like the time echoes that we're working on right now. What if I want to specifically run something that's really just that is more my hero. That is like there is a big bad that is
Yeah,
coming to attack the school. So like let's set the scene for that. Let's set the occasion for let's set the table for many different occasions. Is sort of what I'm kind of going for here, and I think that could be really cool.
I think that's a wicked
Again,
fun story to tell, maybe. And I think that's just like it's at core what we love about D&D is that what if, that potential, that yes and, right? That, we don't want to put people into a box because that's not how we play. We don't play in a box, right? Um and it's exciting to have all these other cool ideas. I would love to see someone's rendition of like a like again like a My Hero. You know, what are the villains that are coming here and trying to attack? And if you know a bit of the story, I won't get into too much spoilers and stuff. But like, why are they trying to get into this college, and what purpose do they have to find its secrets and wield them for their own? Or I think conversely, right? In this sense, what if a DM or a group of players are very new and they don't want to be inundated with this very thick story and they just want to feel their way through the 5e system in
Right.
a casual game?
Right.
You can strip everything back from this campaign and just be like, oh, we're just going to school, leveling up, and going to classes. You know, just all the minutia that we've been talking about. Let's go study with the alchemy teacher and learn how to do potions, and you can take that time role playing and just teaching them how acid works, how poison works, how draw poison works, and then bringing that to a battle test where you can show them how to apply it effectively in battle, right? Like you can strip this down and go so basic.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Exactly.
I gotta slide this piece out because it's not going where I wanted it to go.
Hmm.
Do I like this? Is this too much? Is it not enough? We'll see. We'll see what it looks like in a little bit. I definitely want to go with something different because it'll make it just look better if it's different from the other design. So the Lyceum has the swirly clovers, this one, which I think is a bit more concealed. I'm using these for banisters because they're great banisters. These were windows, and I think they're just too open to call structural. I like the X's. I'm just gonna stick with the X's. I like the X's.
I think
It's got
those look good actually.
it's got like a mean look to it, right? It's like a Bastion, right? Like, I apologize, Stormy. I have to come. My setup is all bugged up from Twitch Studio shortcomings. So your chat's way over here. Lots of carpets, of course. Always lots of carpets. I don't know how many carpets I can put up top there because it is going to be an open air, no roof. It's kind of just like the top of a fortification, almost the top of a wall of a battlement, if you will. Um, well, yeah, that's they do make the conversation difficult, right? Like, why bother with a hill if there are dragons, or why bother with a hill when I can just like mold earth? Like, there's so many questions to yeah, fine. So many questions to add to it, but you also got to remember, you can't have the ultimate what if because in the world of magic, there's some limitations, right? Not everybody has a dragon unless you're a Githyanki warrior. Um, Not everybody has access to like it being a level 20 wizard, right? And there's also intention with that, right? So I think a big conversation with like the gods, as it were, in say a 5e realm, is they have all this power. They're level 40 casters that can do these crazy level 10 spells, right? But why? Why would someone so powerful stoop to the level of these small people, And then again, there are maybe some answers to the why, and those would be very rare, few, and far in between. Like thinking like back to like you know key pillar like I can't think of the name. This is where lore masters, the master of lore, always helps me with these. But I just feel like the conversation's there. It's just different, and you have to kind of look at it differently in some manner. Yeah, I think that's a good point. If they regularly dealt with dragons, what do they need walls for? I would see maybe several stone, uh, round towers with ballistas affixed in a spread out all over, I would see either a lot of underground housing, like hovels, or a lot of stone structure housing. There would be no thatch roof. Everything would be slate and stone and uh, something. So like that is that answer to the what, the why. I guess in that aspect. So yeah, and it's just like I think we kind of answered that question for ourselves a long time ago, and it's just kind of just filling the viewers in on the setting. The Enchanted Forest is that answer, the what and the why. I feel like the secludedness is gonna save us in that conversation in so many aspects. And it makes sense. Like it's the original writing of the college. Like it's not something that we kind of embellished just to kind of save our butts. Um, it's the premise of the college. And again, not excuse me, not to give away too much and spoil too much, but there's a bit more rationale as to why specifically the college is here. Which, as I was mentioning earlier, is like could be that catalyst for some villains or a big bad evil coming here to try and take or steal. Um, and while I'm just kind of talking about just the option, if you will, to make this campaign look different for you, I think this campaign was originally designed and intended to be a starting campaign for any party anywhere. So you could say have an idea for your level 5 to 10 campaign or level 5 to 15 campaign, right? But you're like, hey, maybe we'll just skip the first 5 levels. Well, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll come here and just do this for 5 levels, and then you're like, hey, we got some four or five college trained students that are coming and ready to do my challenge. It's like this is the catalyst to a lot of campaign stories very easily. Yeah, that looks mean like that. Oof, love it. Can I get a buck? Yeah.
Oh man, that looks so good.
And overlapping kind of like that. That just is that. And some minor tweaks.
That looks so good.
Yeah, I'll zoom out and give you. Oh, I don't like that pillar there either.
Yeah, an idea that I had, but I didn't want to go too crazy on right now is, and we had thought about this before, but what if, what if when we, because the point of this is to teach dungeon masters how to do the thing, right?
Yeah.
And specifically how to do the improv thing, how to think on the fly, how to create and iterate. What if, hear me out, what if instead of giving them a narrative, just giving them the sandbox, and at the end of the book, giving them ideas of what storylines could fit, how we could put some storylines in there, and like give them like three, give them like time echoes, give them like a big bad, give them like a natural disaster, three different themes, and just like suggest like this is how we would go about doing these things in this setting. These are important locations to keep in mind, et cetera, et cetera. These are important parts of the history that might help you to
Mm.
make better informed decisions or to iterate better on these things.
Um, I don't dislike the idea. I love the idea, but as like a creator and designer, I what I see is just tripling the work that needs to be done. Is
But
literally
wait,
just
that's
doing what
the
you're
thing
doing
though.
now 3 more times.
But that's the
Um,
thing though. It'll be easier if I'm not gearing so much attention to it and I'm sort of just pulling back and giving them a broader synopsis for each of them.
um,
Because then I can focus more on the sandbox, the mechanics, the setting, and then pull back and be like, okay, how do I add story elements to this in a very light fashion that's like exploratory more than it is like do XYZ in XYZ. You know, they unlock the fourth floor when they get to XYZ.
I don't know what that would look like. I think the story that we had proposed is a very good standalone story that can either exist or not exist or coexist. So as you were saying, like it already is, like just the one story that we are iterating already kind of makes it as such. And then of course you could go ahead and say add at the end of the script, be like, oh well, let's add a natural disaster concept for these players. It's very much you can just tack it on to the end of what we're doing. I feel like they all very much stand in and of themselves. Because functionally, like you're
It
just
might be doing too
it's
much.
yeah, it's literally just doing the same. Like it's like me building 3 buildings. It's like, oh, like that's an awesome idea, but I gotta actually go build those 3 buildings now. You know what I mean? Um, Now there's nothing to say I can't build building 2 after I've built building 1 later when it's finished. I think the expansions of this is like, and I brought that up before. Like I very much would like to see, a second rendition of this. So like maybe on that, you know, uh other iterations of this, maybe there's a tier 2 iteration of the college. Where there's other things going on, or maybe the students get called back. Maybe they leave and they get called back here for some reason, and there's something happening new. With again, just not trying to spoil too much of the details of the playground over here. Like the story that we propose, like very much is like you could just turn it on and turn it off, right? Like you could like this, it could exist and be very relevant, or we could be pretending that the students have already solved that problem 10, 20 years ago, and then this run, that's not an issue anymore. That's like we laugh about that because it happened so long ago. Um,
Right.
and then in that sense, I think you already kind of are focusing on like the sandbox elements and aspects, right? Like that is already the focus of the campaign, anyways. And well, I guess I am going to be building that on stream, like the cave system underneath the catacomb. So like
Right.
like that can very much be rescripted in many ways, right? Maybe it doesn't have anything to do with time at all. Maybe it's just like it's gonna blow up, right? Or um, there's a lot of methods in which that can be applied. It could just be like a regular BBEG down there. You could just stick something next to the rock and say, "Oh, send the players down there to go kill the bad guy." And now you have just like a vanilla blanket regular campaign. Like this,
Right.
it
Yeah.
already does
Exactly.
operate like that. So like I think your idea is being touched on in a sense, but again, like the story that's being told now is one that needs to be built, completed, and then I think a natural disaster is a really cool idea. I think so. What happens? If something comes in the forest. What happens to like I'm trying to like storyboard with you a bit here. Like
Yeah.
what if there's like a movement in the woods and like the natural disaster isn't on the campus because that would be a hell for me to have to make in maps. But the natural disaster is somewhere else off in the woods of enchantedness, and it's relocated an entire drove of creatures that maybe are dangerous or um, uh, something in that aspect. Like there's so many ways that you can kind of design. I love the mystery of what's out beyond these woods, you know, out
Right.
beyond the threshold of these maps. Like, what does exist out there? Give us some answers, DMs. You know, like that's the world's kind of your oyster. We'll give you some ideas
Right.
for sure. We'll definitely give you a couple ideas. Um, yeah, so I'm kind of stuck
Yeah, I think
here.
that's a lot of I think that's a lot of what I'm thinking about is what the dungeon master can do, and I want them to feel like as unrestricted as possible, but also have enough inspiration to feel like we haven't kind of just like left them with nothing, you know?
Well, that's kind of was my concern when you brought up the three different campaigns, right? You know, like, well, what if there's someone who really just wanted that one, you know, and they're left wanting a little bit because now we've kind of diverted our efforts into multiple avenues. So I would very much like it to kind of stand as a regular module in the sense of structure and usability, but then have that alter ego of sandbox, if you will. I think that's a good way to put it. All right, so I think this is just gonna be a little cheesy duties over here. Not even cheesy, just scrappy doodles. This is like, hey, I suck and I don't want to find a way. The only other solution is to go back and take every one of these bars, not probably half of them, not everyone, and just kind of cheat them into each other a little bit. So I just nudge like a quarter of an inch, and trying to merge them like that. And what happens is you go to the end of your stack and you'll have some space that you built, you know? So I could maybe try to fit another one in or fix that distance there, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
It's gonna go, you know, it's like it's so small and
Yeah.
unnoticeable behind trees on that corner. You see it when you do this. No DM is ever gonna do this. Calm that one, especially because this is the main entrance and this is the main
Yeah,
exit.
just cheese it. Just cheese it behind some trees or something.
Yeah, maybe I'll put a little
That, or you
moss
can change
over
the
that.
whole design to be double lattice crosses,
Oh my god.
and now
That
you can just go back and double up and
does it look horrible? It's gonna be so. It's so hard to make. Where's Stormy? Where's the OCD triggers?
OCD.
Oh, it does look really good though, kinda. Is it just me saying this looks good or what?
No, it does. I think it does.
You bring this second bar in.
Yeah, I think you just gotta space them out like perfectly and get like that those perfect intervals. Kind of figure out where they fit the best.
Do you like that more than just the regular? I kind of do. It's more
I mean,
Bastion-y.
more than the regular.
It's so intricate, and this one's like just so wide open. I guess I feel, but that is like twice as many placements.
Yeah, I might. I don't think I like it more than, but for the sake of yours and Stormy's OCD.
And there's also the question of how do I do it over here? I have to do like this. You know, this is like one of those design things. I mean, that does look good. It doesn't look bad. It looks good. It's like stone lattice work.
Right. I think you just gotta space them out perfectly though, because the other ones,
I'm gonna roll with it. We're
it's
gonna
like
see what it looks like, and if I hate it entirely, I'll undo it. And I think I just gotta. The spacing's kind of just like this. You see how there's two bars? You just like these two crossbars right here. You just kind of place them like that. And I feel like this is like one of those times where if
yeah,
you
I don't like
just
it like that.
you
I
just
like it. I would think I would
figure it
like it
out.
better if they were placed perfectly in the center of each other. Like it should
How do you
be in
mean?
the center of that clover.
Here, like this? Oh,
Just
maybe that's yeah. Maybe you're right actually.
to the left more. Yeah, right there in the middle. Because that feels like it'd be easier to replicate.
Yeah, that is actually way easier to replicate. You're totally right. I'm gonna roll with that. Oh, why? Can't grab the one I want.
LOL.
Yeah, this one's just gonna have to be a little bit closer. So this is the only one that will be a little off. Because I gotta fit this corner. Which is why my brain wasn't seeing like what you were saying, where you're like, oh, just like put it in the middle of that. Which, yeah, it makes it so much easier to place too. And that looks way better. Look at that. That's so even. Ooh.
Spam.
Yes, I kind of like it. So like this is what I love about DA is like you have these so these are banisters that I am now using as like building accents, and they're too big for what I liked, and now through a little inspiration of my own mistakes and a little inspiration from my good friend San here, like we have a new idea, a new function, and now we just made our own stone lattice work, like I didn't this doesn't exist anywhere. It does now, like this is like
It
the
does
yeah,
now.
like the more you play with DA, like it kind of like you just find these tools, these different ways to see the
Oh yeah,
program.
that actually looks so good.
And it's actually now that I'm just placing it on the center of these, it's so easy to recreate. So it'll be actually consistent and even. And I now don't have a stupid cover up on my map that it now looks like it makes sense. So I feel like there's so many times that I run into issues where I'm like, ugh, like how do I get rid of this? It looks ugly. I don't want it to look like that. And then I throw something on top of it and I come up with a totally new idea, like as such. I think everybody wins in this one right here. It's gonna be even for us, or for our eyes. It looks
Yeah,
good and
so
thick. What's up?
I'm just working on this progression system and I'm finding a lot more progress with it now that I've started with the first one.
Mm.
I've had ideas on how that works. But basically, if you remember how much I love The Sims, I'm going to be stealing a lot from their game design theory because The Sims itself is a pretty mundane game, right?
Yes.
But
But where is this going?
um,
I'm curious.
well, but they make it that much more interesting by giving you tasks and things to work towards and look forward to. Because yeah, you can do anything, and that's sort of where we are. We're in this big sandbox world, and you can do anything you want, but it's how you focus your time that will give you um, different benefits and afford you different skills. So yeah, I'm excited to see what that looks like as we like as I buckle down and like delve more into it. But I already like the way that the artificer feels, um, where we're incentivizing the uses of those abilities that otherwise no one cares about at all. And for the third level, which I didn't get to talk about just yet. The different activities that you can use, especially like we were talking about alchemist tools. You can create smoke. You can identify a poison. You can identify a substance, start a fire, neutralize acid, and those are things that you can do with an action, um, uh, or part of a long rest. Um, and I think a lot of those things could be used in all different types of situations, and it just adds more applicability to all the different things that we can do. And you get to that fourth level as well, and now the onus is put more on me. Now we're asking like, how are you going to use these things? And I'm still working on the fourth level progression, but it'll just be 1 to 3 for the specific classes, and there are going to be other things that I'm going to add into those different systems
Well, I feel like it's definitely a good conversation to bring up, right? It's going to be college. I personally have gone to college. Some people have. There is a decent amount of downtime at college, and in general, I feel like this game or campaign is set up in the manner or direction to give your players a fair amount of downtime, right? And then now the question
Yeah.
is what are they doing with that downtime?
What are they gonna do?
So it is a very important part to I think the conversation. In my opinion, from my experience as a player, I feel like downtimes are some of my favorite times as a player. As somebody who's very interested in expanding roleplay and backstory of characters, I often utilize downtime as an opportunity to maybe ask a question about a character's backstory, or maybe create a commonplace of a thing that my character does that kind of gives them a personality trait, right? Um, and it's kind of, in my opinion, is how you define your character, and how you get that minutia in there that really makes your character come to life and feel like a person. Um, so I guess at the end of the day, it's like that we brought it up. Like this is just like a role play playground. Like
Yeah, that's really what I think I want to create. I want to just make a very fleshed out playground that anything can take place in, and really just allow the player and the DM to feel like that is more than a possibility. It is, you know, the intended idea. You know, the storyline is secondary because you can create your own story, and here are the tools to do so.
no, not even. The storyline is secondary because the first story is the story of your fucking party. You know,
Mm,
you're like that's the story that we're telling here, and as have always been telling. And I think you take it a step further, which is it's not the story of the party; it's the story of these individual party members and the story that they create, which is another way to kind of look at things. Um, and yeah, it's just a different look at the game, different style of the game. I very much feel like sometimes you play in somebody else's story, and the difference is uncanny when the story feels like it's your own as a player.
yeah, agreed. Agreed.
Just gonna take a little break here, um, as I now have to do what I just did 3 more times. So it's gonna be another hour. I might even just like switch it up because like these are the types of things I like doing off stream, like the mundane monotony of just like repeating the build. Also, sadly, because I have customized these buildings and I want them to have that look down aesthetic of first floor, I'm gonna have to full build all the structure again on the other two bastions, which is fine because I plan on changing one of them, so I'm really only redoing it twice and two and a half, 1.5 times. But then I'm theorizing. I'm thinking what's left on my to-do list. I have finished this second story, two more second stories on the other bastions, um, furnish and fitting them, and then the top story of the dean's office, and then the catacombs. Like we're getting there,
Yeah,
son. We're
we
getting
are.
there. And I'm very excited to have like a. I looked at it the other day. Someone else posted something on the Dungeon Alchemist Discord, and it was like one of 19. It was like they had like a 19 map like campaign pack, and I was like, like that's it. That's the goal. I can't wait. And I think I'm just gonna keep doing this. So when we're done with this, I'm just gonna make another one, and I think I might try to maybe just omit this direction of a story and a theme and a thematic, and kind of just do something a little bit more like open and free, and based more in design, right? So just like really cool features and really make it look really good, and have it be like maybe like a ten map package, like a short campaign package of some sort, instead of releasing like individual maps on my Fiverr. I'll release map packages.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of success from some other map creators doing the same thing. Definitely recommend it. Um, Maybe even setting up that Patreon of yours, so that way you can start posting them there.
Yep.
Setting up the little packages with the damn files or just the PNGs, and running it at different tiers. You'll definitely get a lot of hits on it. People love map makers.
I'm excited. The last party I was in, the dude was like, "Yeah, I worked kind of like hand in hand with a map maker. Like they're curating for me." And I was like, "Oh my god, I would love to just curate for somebody's campaign." Sounds like so much fun to just curate. I've have done it for you. Like it's fun. I definitely enjoy it, but I think I like the idea of just kind of releasing myself to the capabilities of DA, and like again, like with this build, we're really pushing the subject of like what DA can do, right? And I just kind of like that being kind of like my style. I want to be always moving forward, right? This program's building and growing, and I would always moving forward with the design and the builds. So um, yeah, yeah. And then of course, once I have the package complete, it's going to be a matter of Easter egging and kind of just going back and curating for what we want. I think a save is due because I have not saved this. Save as Lyceum Arcane second. All right. Oh, I figured out how to shut off animations on the trees and stuff.
Oh, how?
I'll show everybody in just a second. Which is huge because it's like I have no need to have the trees billing. Like when you want high quality and tree animations and stuff is like when you're doing cinematic videos and using DA to record, and like if you're using DA as like a personal kind of VTT, and like I brought up, or I guess a lot of the animations are shut off. So if you want to see what the animations look like when you place them, you can turn everything back up to see them. But apart from those reasons, I'm struggling to see a reason why, even with my nice computer, to put anything on high capabilities. Like
Yeah.
it's rendering, like it's pixels. Like I need efficiency. I don't care how it looks right now. I need to just get the pieces placed. So like I need it to be fast and efficient. So like strip it down, everybody. Strip it down. Go to low quality.
Strip it down.
Like literally collisions off and strip it down. This is my new two like standbys with this program. Um, just set yourself up for success. Yeah.
Strip it down, collisions off. All
Here's
right.
here's one for you, son. Actually, this is a good tip for when you're kind of bopping around doing cinematic, or maybe you're gonna do like do some placing of some pieces, like some Easter eggs and stuff. Kind of when you come through and put posters up. When you are switching between visual modes, or when you go into like auto wall or auto room, and it kind of slows down as the program has to load.
Yeah.
When you're going into those load moments, um, it would behoove of you to zoom your camera in as far as you can, because your
Okay.
computer is rendering pixels, and the computer is told to render the pixels that it sees. So if you zoom
I
in as
see.
far as you can, you're going to minimize the amount of pixels your computer is told to render, and then the task that it has to do behind that render is much easier than zooming out and saying, "Hey, render my whole map and do this other thing for me. Thanks, computer." No sweat. So yeah. That was another tip I stole from Mac. I love watching Mac's live streams. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
so like literally like zoom in like this, right, and then be like, all right, we're going to cinematic. Look at how quick that was. Boom, boom. We got in cinemute like freaking instant. So yeah. It's a DA is a tool. It's a rendering program, which means it's a tool. So tools need to be used effectively and different
Efficiently.
efficiently. Like so. This is what we learn. I'll just finish this what I've already done, so I'm at least like up to date. So on like our little, I'm gonna digress a little bit here just to fill the airtime. On our little like ooh woo, like what if this was my hero, right? I'm floored at the context and the lore drop of the arcade battle royale arena that we get to play the game in. That is literally just the anime. Like I was like, oh, like we're in like episode 6 or 7, and this is the USJ. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'm like, oh, the villains just pop up. I'm like, oh, these are literally all the typhoon place. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's literally the episode where they had their exam. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god. I'm there. I'm caught up. I'm like, what? I'm like, the lore, the
It's
thematic.
so good.
It's so good.
It's so good. One of my favorite things about that game is that they did a really great service to the abilities. And like you don't get to see a lot of Deku's abilities that he has now in those that beginning because he has a very long story arc of training.
Yeah.
Especially like Black Whip doesn't come until season 6 just about.
Yeah, we don't see how he makes it his own, right?
Um, but yeah, honestly, so good. So good. They did such a great job designing that game,
Well, I
and I
think
hope that
the
I could be half as good at designing anything ever.
I think like because you got to remember like the function and the what and the why. Like they're trying to make a game out of something, so you don't want
Yeah,
quite literally all of those quirks to translate like like 1 to 1, because some of those quirks are crazy off the wall, and some of them have some really weird applications. And I think it's great for a storytelling facet, but a game, what you need is balance, right? And like so I very much think they had that in mind with a lot of the characters, as like giving, say, like Mount Lady a ranged attack, and or just like making it so like Sir Kix, Tenya, or Ida can deal damage in the same breath as other characters. Like you have to have a sense of balance to the game. So I think they had to make like some of those creative decisions. Um,
even still, I think Mount Lady might be the farthest off with the like ranged smash attack, but even still, like
Functionally, she works, and like you get to go giant and be Mount Lady, so she feels like Mount Lady. Um, I think while we're kind of talking about this, Bakugo could not be any more 1 to 1 of a translation. And man,
It's
is that
easiest to
quirk
do though.
cool, right? Like I was blown away when they showed his outfit and they're like, "Oh, this is why he has a ranged attack because he can store it in those grenade arms that he has." I was like, "Oh, I was like, what?" I was like, "No way!"
Yeah.
I was like, "That's so cool!" Like his character is literally like one for one translated into that game because that's just what his
Yeah.
abilities are good for. But like, okay, so here's a good point. Is it Shoto, the ice and fire dude?
Yeah,
He
Todoroki.
he needed to be nerfed from the show.
Oh yeah.
You know, like he would not be fun for
He
anybody to
technically
play
should have
with.
been the most powerful character in the game,
Yeah,
in
you
my
know,
opinion.
like so they had to change some of his abilities and some of just how his abilities are applied kind of um but yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was for
for
the
the better.
better. You know, it's for the balance, it's for to make it a game. Right? So like same conversation, like All Might, like he should not be able to just punch everybody and destroy everybody with Detroit smashes, even though that's what would happen. You know, like
He would absolutely win no matter what.
like it wouldn't be fun. The game wouldn't be fun anymore. So make
Everyone would just be playing All Might. It would be
yeah
literal
yeah.
All Might Ultra Rumble.
But yeah, I love it. Talking about My Hero Ultra or My Hero Academy, which they came out with a new game called My Hero Ultra Rumble, which is a lot of fun. Play with the friends sometimes when we're not streaming. Sometimes I've streamed it a couple times on my channel.
It's good. It's a good game. It's a good game.
That's a fun game. It's free, so I would definitely recommend just checking it out.
Free advertisement. Sponsor us.
Stop.
Nothing for free in this world. Nothing for free. Yeah, but it's looking so good, Mitchell.
Thank you. I'll take some of the credit, as I give lots of the credit to DA. They've created a capable program that really just kind of builds you up. Like I feel like this is like, I'll just talk about me for a little bit. Like as a young when I was young, I was always into art. I always loved art. I loved drawing and doodling and creating things and like building models and I was always doing stuff that was interesting, but like I feel like my application never was on par with some other people. Like I never drew quite as good as the other kids or I could never really understand painting or grasping painting. Uh, so I kind of just like fizzled out a little bit. In the same sense with like poetry, I really liked poetry when I was younger, but again, like words just don't. Grammar and words aren't my forte. It's just not how my brain works. I'm a math and science brain. Um, but it's not to say like I'm not a creative person because I very much am. And I feel like what DA does is it kind of props me up, gets rid of some of the other noise, puts something on the canvas for me to play with, and really like helps the way my brain kind of works and functions as far as creation and design goes. It's like
Mm-hmm.
look at how crazy I can get. Like my brain goes so far. Like I just need some aids to get up to that point, right? The blank paper is what kills me. Yeah, so yeah, yeah. I think I've been kind of like
Yeah,
as just thinking about a little introspection past couple days.
I hear that. I hear that. But I
I
mean,
think
here we are.
yeah. I think maybe like to like turn that over to you kind of. I think maybe I think that's why you like the format of storytelling in a role play because you very much get to tell the story that you see, you feel, right? There's no bounds or restrictions. No one's telling you what to do. You set the stage, right? Um,
Yeah, I mean, storytelling for me is very feeling based. And I feel the direction of the story more than I can say, like, there is a little bit of logic into it, right? There's like a, if this happens, then, me, that always is more of a feeling than it is a formula. I first and foremost think of how does this person feel in this situation, and what are their motivations in this situation, and how do I achieve those things for them, and if they were going about them, how would they want to achieve them, and what are the circumstances that would cause them, to feel like they must do XYZ, like Madame Vile, for instance. Um, she's one of my favorite because there is so much complexity behind what she's doing. And
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, she does love her children. She does. And though, they, in her mind, there is a grand purpose, it's sort of like this idea of legacy, that I'm sort of working with as a theme, for that particular storyline, is that there is a legacy that, she has in mind, that she is trying to secure. And I think, and like, I'm a person of I'm a child of immigrants, and that's a huge thing in culture.
Mm.
Is like legacy, and like children are almost bred to do or be a certain thing. Like, I should be a doctor. I should not be a game designer. I
Mm-hmm.
should I shouldn't be an artist. I should have, went to med school and done XYZ, but like, I unfortunately am not that person, right? And I think, um, with Madame Vile, she looks at Dream, and she looks at Dream as like, you're supposed to, carry on this legacy. You're supposed to be by my side along with your other siblings to fulfill said legacy. And I just can't understand why you need to be so opposed to not only me, but in her mind, the working order of things. And Dream is, just trying to live their life and their truth as best as they can, um, and honor themselves. And, I always thought that was very. It's just a very poignant story, especially to me.
Mm.
But yeah,
No, I definitely feel that, the pressures of kind of generational struggles, and what's been put on the table and expectations, but also just to bring it to our story, like, um, there's a lot to the world and how it operates, especially when you add magic to that conversation, and a lot of times, I think you remember, Stormy was bringing up the SCP the other day.
yeah,
Remember that, all that nonsense, right? So I watched the video that they sent me, and essentially the SCP is kind of like, I think, in my opinion, like a little bit like Madame Vile, where it's like, hey, we're gonna do a little bit of those necessary evils and
right,
kind of just get some things done. And even if that means manipulating my children a little bit, there's kind of a lot at stake here, and
right,
you need to really balance what's going on. Are we really gonna let the world blow up just because I love my child? Is that so? Like, those are the questions that people that are level 40 wizards in controlled realms have to ask themselves sometimes. um and what do those stories look like?
right. The many versus the one.
Oh yeah, look at that lattice, that stone lattice.
Oh yeah, baby.
All right, so that's half of it latticed out. Oh no, almost half of it. We'll do this. Oh, I got another viewers popped on. Hey, thanks for joining. We are just dabbling away here. Lots to do on this project. It is a tier 1 D&D module that me and my friend have been creating, that we plan to release for all of our lovely friends.
Tis the hope.
Yeah, I'm like, who's hoping? I got like 60 plus hours of labor in this. Here's to hoping.
Here's the hoping. Motherfucker, what? Yeah, I'm excited because it does feel like I've sort of breached that biggest like hurdle um with the progression mechanics because it just felt like I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know where I wanted to go, and I didn't know sort of what specific themes and things were important to me based around this. But I think really looking at and chewing down on what the classes do at their core helped me to see that a little more. And it's just like, you know what? I want to see more artificer flashlights. Um, pass them around to members who don't have, a
Dark
liking
vision.
for dark vision with a liking
You
for
know, like,
for
there's so many applications of an artificer in their engineering prowess. They can solve all the problems of the world, just sometimes you need to learn how to do that.
exactly. So yeah, here's the hoping.
Here's I'm gonna title next stream that.
No, no, we can't.
It's a good stream title.
Maybe
Maybe.
might be good actually. Like that might, maybe we'll see. You might agree with that. Oh, speaking of
What were we speaking of?
next stream,
Oh, yeah.
do you remember that map you initially made for Dreams Revelry?
Yeah, I still have it.
Okay. Can you just throw that damn file, the updated version, in the map folder
You have it. My whole
in your
folder's there.
drive?
I update the whole folder when I update that.
Perfect.
It's all on the drive.
Yeah, the lattice structure looks so good.
It does. Thank you for kind of just like, pushing me in that little direction. It was a gentle nudge, but I think uh, when I did a couple of them, I didn't like it too much. When I did the whole row, I was like, "Whoa, that looks so good."
I did not sync. I did not sync.
A little bit. Ooh,
Yeah, we got a busy weekend now. We got double streams on Friday morning, Friday afternoon because Friday Night Magic. If you
nice.
guys are Magic the Gathering players, come hang out, come play Magic with us. Got plenty of spots open for multiple pods. Would love to have you join us. You could always find links to our Discord on all of my socials. And Sunday we'll see our Diabolic Design stream, which that campaign, unfortunately, but we do love to see a story wrap up will be coming towards an end in these coming weeks.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Actually, the story that we were just talking about with Madame Vile and necessary
Yeah,
decisions. We will be telling a bit more of that this Sunday. Come check it out.
yeah, come hang out on Sunday, come watch the stream. We'll be streaming at 8 p.m. Eastern. Um, and yeah, I mean, we got a lot of things in the works. We've got the Lyceum campaign that'll be popping up on Wednesdays. We're thinking of running a mercenary campaign. I think I want to bring back Wild Space and run that. Test out Mitchell had earwormed and I had built out.
Oh, I'm
Um,
just like, keep talking. You're really just getting me excited to play D&D.
yeah,
I need
we
it,
also
dude. I
we
need
also
it.
we got that, and then we've also got the World of Darkness in the works. Um, and the World of Darkness might end up being our new Sunday campaign. But yeah, lots of things in the works, lots of things that we're pushing towards. Um, we will be auditioning for that World of Darkness game, looking for people who are super interested and super committed in telling a really robust, really dramatic
Yeah,
story.
the
Because
big
if you
role
know
play
anything about me,
emphasis.
I love drama. I love drama. I love high fantasy, and I love dark and spooky and macabre. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing a lot of. And Mitchell's already seen a little bit of that on the back end when they were co-DMing that first World of Darkness game alongside me. And we had a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it in particular. I thought it was a really interesting idea, and we're definitely going to run it back. We had some scheduling issues before, but we're going to bring a really solid cast around this time because we want to see it come to fruition. I'm not sure how long the game will end. I think because of the nature of the game, it may have to be shorter form, but I am not going to lock myself into any one thing. We are here for the versatility of role playing games. That's why we play them. That is why I chose this as my profession because, she's versatile. She can do anything and everything under the sun. And I'm just really excited to see what that looks like. Um, so yes, we got three really big games coming up as we're sort of ending this era of ending this era of games that have been running for three plus years.
Mm-hmm.
My Monday game moved to Saturdays, and that'll be ending pretty soon, probably around the same time frame as Diabolic Designs. And like I said already, Diabolic Designs, my baby, my darling. After 3 years, after exploring four or five different realms of the verse, after conquering several planes of existence, after
Becoming
starting a
gods,
circus,
becoming
after becoming
stars.
gods, um, after so much
So
has happened.
much.
We are finally gonna say hasta la vista, baby, to this very wonderful saga. But I do think it won't be the last we see of this story. Um, it does hold a very dear place in my heart, and I think that we will definitely um, maybe see it in comic book form, maybe see it in some other form. I'm excited to see what other forms it can take. So yeah, definitely won't see the last of it. Definitely won't be the last of it. Um, but it's time for us to move on. It's time for us to grow. Um, Time for us to see what else lies beyond the horizons. I'm really, really excited for Wild Space. Really excited for Wild Space.
Mm.
Um, I want to see the mercenaries in their full glory, starting level 1 to 0, so we can really play test it. Because I think it is an interesting class, and I think there are some very specific things that may have to be included in that class to make it more feasible within the broader spectrum of fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons. And we may also just find out that perhaps it doesn't work for 5e. Perhaps it needs its own love and care, and we might need to iterate a little more on that. But first and foremost, we got to test it out, right? We got to see what it looks like. We got to see how it runs, and I want to see how that happens from level one
Play
to
test your
level
stuff.
0. We gotta please play test your things. Play test your things. It's important. Um, we've been in the playtest phase for a little while now, but
I'm definitely like, I'm in
lots
the
of good
camp
things.
like, you gotta just like, you gotta, I've said it before, right? You gotta like jump and let hope the parachute's gonna pull, right? And just kind of like really have confidence in what you're doing, yada yada. But don't be a fool. Play test your stuff. Like nobody wants to play with something that hasn't been tested. and has all a whole bunch of imbalances and inconsistencies, that's just gonna you're shooting yourself in the foot in that point, right? And I feel like there's definitely
Right.
like a lot of people that get stuck in this creative sphere and they don't ever take the car out for a test drive, and just
Yeah.
see what it actually looks like. Um, and I would encourage you to.
Yeah, I mean, before we release this adventure, it's the first thing we're gonna do is be testing it on that Wednesday stream.
Mm.
Is we're definitely gonna be looking for kinks and really trying to flesh out the
Oh,
sandbox world without the narrative and see if it really does feel full enough to be its own campaign. And when that's all said and done, then we can turn around and behind maybe some more closed doors because we don't want to spoil everything. See what the story looks like as a narrative and all these good things, all these good things. But yeah, please playtest your things. Don't and also don't put it on the community to playtest your things for you. Cough cough is really appropriate. I think it's one thing to ask for opinions, but I think it's another thing to basically have the community write your game for you. And I
do your
don't
work
want that
for
for
you.
myself. So what we're going to be doing is playtesting it on stream. So don't be afraid to come hang out, to come see it in real time. Um, but all that to say, it's we're about to hit that 2 hour mark. It's about to be
Hmm.
time for us to turn into a pumpkin here. But to everyone that did come and hang out and join in the stream, thank you so much. You know we appreciate you. You know we love you. Love to be here with you in this wonderful place. Just kidding.
Yeah, shout out to
Let's
my.
not.
I have some regulars now, so shout out to the people that keep coming back to support the build. Um,
Yeah, shout out Stormy. Shout out Top. Top, you're always MVP number one. Shout out Neff. Love you, girl. My girl. My girl.
like,
You
whoa!
know, sister from another mister. Yeah, doing this streaming thing more and more, seeing more and more of our lovely friends, and just glad to be held and supported. We love the support. It's not easy being a struggling artist, but you
It's
guys
not
make
easy
it.
struggling.
It's not easy struggling. You guys make it worthwhile, and I promise I will not forget you when we make it to the top. You can get a free autograph from me at least once.
I guarantee you, I'll still be in Discord in the morning drinking coffee as I do.
I'm a little bougie. I don't know about that. You guys might not see me anymore. I might be too good for you.
Oh,
Just telling it like it is, you know? Just telling it like it is.
move
It
that
was a
out.
phase. It was a Discord phase.
Put
All
that
jokes, all
there.
jokes. All meant with love.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. I think I'll be able to finish this out in a timely fashion. I just got one more go around, and then this is all these structures are set up, and I can come back next time around and do banisters and really start to work on the building above.
Because this is the patient, tedious work.
Yeah, it's really like I used some when I was younger. I did a spatch of masonry, very akin to masonry. Like it's a job that takes a long time. You place individual pieces. You need a lot of patience and thought. Like you can't just be placing things blindly. Um, and you need to. It's like a very slow burn. Uh,
Yeah, could never be me.
same facet. It's pleasing.
Could
It's
literally
relaxing. It's like
never
meditation.
be me.
Like literally. So this is what's funny. So it's like meditating for somebody like me is very hard because my brain does not sit still. This kind of is the equivalent of meditation.
Yeah, I could never. I applaud you so often because I'm just literally amazed at what you can do. Um, my brain just does not work that way.
Got these trees bleeding in.
Damn trees.
There we go. I just had to find a way to get some sight in there so I can find the placement. Oish. Oh gosh.
The trees. Attack of the trees.
Yeah, for real. Who the hell decided Enchanted Forest was the way to go?
LOL. Sorry. I mean, you didn't have to put all the trees down first.
Okay, alright, fair. Touche. You're really coming at my design style.
I feel like the trees could have come last. You know,
I'm
like
still learning, okay? No, so I have thought about that. There is a lot of instances that I could have maybe come at differently with the save files. However, if I was to do that, I would have to get pretty intricate with like some folders because I would be really expanding the amount of save files I have. But I definitely would have been able to save myself some time on a couple builds and a couple things that I was doing with multi-floor, which I think in hindsight I'll definitely try and come back to and come back with a full iteration. Because like again, tools, right? Save files are tools. They don't have to be the final draft every time you save them, you know. You just need to make sure you don't lose your shit.
ooh, a big stretch, big stretch.
Yeah, I can't wait to take a stretch. I stretch before stream and after stream, and it feels the best. Ooh, come on. We gotta be getting close here. When you zoom in like this, it feels like it's like you'll never end. There it is.
Yeah, I'm also really excited for FNM tonight. I think it's gonna be really fun. We got a good amount of people coming in through the chat and the stream, so it will be very lit. The theme is spooky, so if you're coming, bring a spooky deck.
You got
Period. Like,
your black cat deck online.
I don't think I will be playing that one just because it's really ass. I went in too many different directions. It's like equipments and curses and cat tribal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Too many things.
Too many things. Too many things. Um, but it's funny. It's definitely funny. I will say that. But no, I'm bringing well, you know what? I'll leave that as a surprise. I'll leave that as a surprise. Who knows what I'm gonna bring? That's the spookiest part, is you don't know.
uh,
The world may never know.
how would they know?
How would they know? They'll never know. How would they know?
Okay, continuing. Oh, we're almost done. My hands are getting a bit tired too. It's a lot of placing.
A lot of clicking, a lot of clicky clacking.
It's a lot of work over here on my end. A lot of work.
I just be typing. I just type things every now and then. Get an idea, write it down.
You know,
Also been really
honestly,
good for my dream journal recently.
on that, like typing is like I have to press a whole bunch of buttons. It's way easier for me to just press the same button over and over and over as I do. So, if I'm picking my choice between what I'm clicking, this is the preferred click. Last one there. Doubles here.
Yeah, look at that. Beautiful
Save the hardest one for last because this one's got a whole bunch of trees that are really way closer than I thought they were. So I think I got a nice zoom angle right here. Actually, this will be go quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do a drive-by. We'll be getting to get out of here. I need some lunch. I need to make some food. Pop's getting hungry. Lo-fi sirens, everybody.
Oh, you can hear him?
Are those real sirens from the city?
Wait, were they?
I
Because
thought they're from the lo-fi track.
my
Just,
lo-fi track.
just didn't want anybody, bug out. I come from a small town, so I don't really hear or worry about
I don't
anything.
know if you can hear that, but yeah, there were sirens that just went by as you said that.
Oh no, no. So they were real ones. All right, time to panic. Just kidding.
LOL. Yep, big city girl lives in a big city.
Like when you're zoomed in like this, it's important you just very small movements. Take your time and just try and be even, easy. Don't go fast because you get way off kilter and getting yourself back into this perfect little angle that I found, this little pocket that allows me to just see everything. It takes a lot of time. Like the camera is a really it's not weird. Like I understand how it works and just sometimes in tight spaces it doesn't have those finite function points that you're looking for, like because it's kind of like it like
Mm-hmm.
zooms back and forward and it kind of turns a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at that.
Would you look at it?
Look at that.
Oh, did I not do that one? One's missing the lattice. Damn, that looks
Well,
good though.
your girl is gonna hop off for now. Get the day started.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll see ya. Thanks for coming on to the stream.
Always, always.
Feel free to go over to Lore Master's channel, check them out, give them a follow if you will. You know my schedule, but you can check out her schedule over there on their channel too.
Yep. Mostly streaming on the weekends, Friday, Sunday, and here and there in the middle of the week, depending on how we're feeling. Might pick up a game of My Hero or pick up a game of Dark and Darker. A little variety streaming here and there. But yeah, you know where to find us. Join the Lore Masters Guild. Come, play games with us.
Join us.
Join us. You know you want to. Welcome to the dark side. We have D&D games. All right, y'all. Thanks for
Weirdo.
having me, Mitchell.
We'll see
We'll see
ya.
you very soon.
Peace, peace.
Peace, peace.
See, I'm just gonna finish up these last couple pieces here. Just so the save state is even and I can move on and just do banisters afterwards. My eyes are starting to go a little crooked. Oh, God. Focusing too much. There we go. All right. Beautiful. That looks righteous, man. These just be like little ramparts, and like I'll put like little benches on them, kind of like if you've seen over on the Lyceum College main building, second floor, second and a half, kind of technically the third. Just like some benches and some tables, light furnishings, some planters, more or less a physical rampart to kind of build upon and defend upon, I guess. Maybe I'll put some light decoration in there or something, but I don't want it to be too much. I want to keep it open and airy. Um, if you've seen, I have a three more. There's three of these buildings in total. There's the Arcane. There's the Divine. The Divine will look very much similar to this. And then there's the Militant, which the Militant will half of it will look the same, or three quarters, I should say, as the north-facing side. I'm gonna try and construct some type of tower up over here, like that kind of raises up and looks over a battlement. Just on that one side, just on that one corner, or maybe I'll even do a tower here, and then a big tower here, battlement up there, like a third story, just to give it some flair, so let it stand out. And as we were talking, Stormy, before, kind of some of that practicality in your design of your castles and your battlements and bastions. As I kind of spoke with the lore master a bit, the south point of the castle is the furthest point away from the castle and the most exposed point of the property for the students. So I felt like, if there was another fort or something that kind of had some more defensive capabilities, it would be on the south end because it's the furthest away from the most of the teachers and the most of the things going on, probably deeper into the forest, if you will. So yeah, so I'm gonna take the weekend off as I do go spend time with my family. As you heard, San loves to stream on the weekends, so go check them out if you're not doing anything. And I'll see everybody Monday to pick back up. We'll do banisters and we'll kind of finish this up and finalize it. Just get started on the divine and kind of just try to bang all three of these out by the end of the week. Finish the furnishing, and I think let's see, got two more weeks left in my capable work time, so I think I'll be able to finish this project in a timely fashion and keep it on the timetable. So I'm excited for that, and we'll see where the channel heads further past that. Um, let's make sure I get a save in here before I shut everything down. I guess, yeah, same concept. I think there's gonna be, when I finish this build entirely, there's gonna be a process where I go and do Easter eggs and kind of like curate for more specific and not don't furnish generally, but furnish very specifically. Um, and also I will come back and come through and delete a lot of unnecessary assets. So like underneath these walls and these floors, there's a good handful of things that we won't ever see or touch. As these will be separate floors from the others. So I'm just gonna go and delete it. It's gonna speed everybody's map time up, make the files a little bit smaller, easier to transfer, easier to use. And yeah, again, this looks one of those formatting things where you just kind of just gotta keep style in mind, but also you gotta keep efficiency and function in mind with this program. Like the world's your oyster. You can throw a million pixels into this map, but if you can't use those pixels, who cares? All right, come just save. Why is it taking forever to just save? Yeesh. Nice backup drive. Does this? Maybe it goes to a different file. Maybe it's not on my SSD. Maybe that's why it takes a little bit longer. The wifey's asking for some advice on some fantasy football here. Oh, Dude, the 10 bajillion hour save time. I want something hot for lunch. I'm gonna make something hot. Oh boy, when the save times take forever and you just wanna save. But you can't, 'cause it takes forever and you don't know why. Oh why, oh why won't you save for me? Hey, here we go. I'm gonna save it a second time, just in case. All right, here we go, and we'll be getting out of here. I already said my goodbyes, so you'll get another one.